it is a bit bonkers, isn't it, to do, just spend a vast amount of money and do 15 different side dishes, and none of them are what you would normally serve, because it's got to be, sprouts with lime shreds and chestnuts and God knows what inside to make them really, really trendy and exotic. Wouldn't it be nice if we just took the stress out of the lunch itself or the dinner? What would you do? Hello and welcome to Two Women Chatting. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Liz.
And last year we had such a good episode for Christmas with our lovely friend Hannah Bartlett from Jolly Festive. It was one of the most downloaded episodes, actually, of the whole season. We thought we've got to do a rerun because it was so good last year, and we all met up at Spirit of Christmas Fair this year, and we were talking about, the differences in a midlife Christmas, and it's so tiresome and exhausting when you're setting up and you're undecorating. So we thought we'd ask Hannah to come on and just give us a few tips on how we can maybe declutter at the end of Christmas and just store things better, so it doesn't seem like that massive, huge job that it is. I know you keep up your Christmas decorations basically all year, don't you? So
that's
a lot
one way
easier.
of avoiding the tidy up.
Yes. And I should just say that Hannah is half of Jolly Festive with her sister Jo. They run this fab website. So if you're looking for great decor ideas and crafts,
Well, it's just everything, isn't it?
basically, Elf on the Shelf. I saw you're doing all these cool ideas this year, because that is a nightmare with young kids, and that's something that Liz and I don't have to do anymore.
Like Christmas, but yeah, not Elf on the Shelf.
Yeah. So, all right, what are your top tips? It's now the end of November, and we're looking to bring it all out. How do we do it in a way that makes it easier on the way back in again?
Oh, yes, that is the $1 million question, isn't it? And I guess, as with everything Christmas, the most important thing is to do it at your pace, in the way that's right for you, and try not to be too affected by what everyone else is doing and the pressures that you feel from the press, from social media. It's so important that we remember that this is our celebration to do it in the way we want. And I think that sets the tone for absolutely everything Christmas related.
Yeah.
But when it comes to bringing out the boxes, well, it depends on how you packed them last year, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
I think ideally, you'd start well ahead. So there's not the rush. You're not doing it the day of the party that you committed to 3 months ago when it felt like a good idea. And you do it room by room, so it's pleasurable. So you enjoy it rather than trying to do everything all in one go. And so when you're packing away, trying to think of it in that sense as well. So clear boxes so you can see what's inside, making sure that you take out one room, just decorate that one room, enjoy it. Then a few days later, take out another room and enjoy doing that one, rather than trying to do it all together.
I'd never thought of doing by room. It's just like a light bulb moment.
Because actually, why put all of your, I'm trying to think, all the baubles, you could, like, as you say, separate them all out by colour per room, and think, this is where I go down, like, my complete ADHD, like, micro managing route. But that's a great idea, and then you could mark it on the side as well, I guess, sitting room or family room or whatever it is.
Exactly. I mean, if you are a colour person and you like to change up colour theme each year, then do it that way instead of by room. So these are the red and green traditional ones. These are the silver and golds. But absolutely, if it's broadly speaking the same decor that you're bringing out year on year, do it by room. And my top tip, take a photograph or two of the room during Christmas, or you'll probably take them anyway. Print them out, stick them on the box, so you roughly remember where everything goes as well.
And you can get someone else to do it.
That's just genius.
That is genius.
There we go.
All right, that is two tremendous tips in about 2 minutes. We are on a roll here.
It's just so obvious. Instead of me, I'm rummaging through. Where we found this? Can't find it.
Oh, and then you get distracted and you think,
yeah.
oh,
Do
yeah.
you?
Oh, remember all the
And
kids'
then you
artwork.
get to the lights
Oh,
Yes.
and lose the will to live, right?
Yes. I mean, again, when you put them away, there must be a way that they don't go back all tangled and, you know, it's obviously such a nightmare every time you get out 400 foot of lights and try and put those around a tree.
400 foot,
Oh,
right.
God.
I do big Christmas.
Admiration. Yes, so I can't claim to have invented this one, but we love it. The best tip that we saw was piece of cardboard and wrap them around that. And in an ideal world, you indent the two ends of the cardboard so that it doesn't drop off the sides.
What, just like
Then
a plain
debate-
rectangle piece of cardboard?
Literally just a scrap of a cardboard box that you've got at Christmas time, and then fold over that. It sort of makes kind of an H, I guess, and then you wrap the lights around that.
Oh, I see. Yeah, get that. Yeah.
Then debate on this one, but for me personally, I start at the plug end, because when I put the lights out, I want to start with the other end of the lights at, say, the top of the tree, and wind down until I find the plug. So start at the plug end, wind them on, and then when you finish, get just a little bit of brightly coloured tape and tape it round the other end so that you can find it again.
Yeah, good.
A
I
year
suppose
later.
you could, with a Sharpie or something, write on the cardboard sitting room tree lights, or some,
Perfect.
because I tend to use lights in lots of different rooms. In fact, I actually have Christmas lights up year round. I love
Yay!
I
Welcome
love
to
that.
my world.
Yeah, they're just so pretty, and they just, it's just such sort of a charming light source, isn't it? So I always
So
have them.
true.
All right.
Everything looks better by twinkly light.
It does.
But in the summer now we have festoon lighting up, so
Yeah.
and that, I guess, is one of the things that people are moving towards more generally, and possibly feeds into other topics that I think we were hoping to chat about today, in terms of what decor to keep in a capsule kind of Christmas wardrobe, as it were, Christmas cupboard. And that is thinking about the things that extend beyond the Christmas season, so the things you can use year round and repurpose. And the fairy lights, the festoon lights, they're absolutely ready.
Is there any other things that you can sort of repurpose, say in the summer?
Well, some people do the tree, which is obviously personal
That's
taste.
a trend, isn't it? Doing a summer tree. Yes, I read
And a
about that.
Valentine's tree. That absolutely is a trend, but it's very much personal taste. Some people really enjoy it, and some people it's not for them.
I suppose you get your money's worth.
I think the wreath works really well.
Yeah.
To redecorate, especially if you've gone for an atypical wreath, like these beautiful big chunky wool wreaths that you can get now, or the table centre, doing a table centre that you can update for the seasons, hurricane vases.
Oh, I love a hurricane vase, absolutely. We were talking about, as we get older and our kids might start hosting Christmas, and we've got, I know, and we've got empty nests and our kids are more adult. We thought about how nice it would be at sort of towards the end of Christmas to give away, to our adult kids, so they start building up their own Christmas decoration, sort of, what would you call it, box or something.
Love that idea.
Yeah, I think it's nice to hand them on. I've still got Christmas baubles from when I was a kid that I found that my mum had tucked away, and they're the old-fashioned kind. They break really easily. They're tiny. They're beautiful, but it reminds me of my childhood Christmases.
I think that's it. Some of them are really breakable, and some of them were horrible, but some of them were gorgeous. And I wish my mum gave me a load, and I don't know what I've done with them. And I feel really bad because they came back in fashion. Because that's the thing about handing them on to your children, isn't it? It's like, they go no, but then 20 years later, they're vintage.
And they are back in fashion. They're retro, aren't they?
They really are, and they really are at the moment. Those old inverted baubles and the fairy lights with the little flower heads.
Oh, yeah,
some of them.
Multicolours.
Yeah, although the LED version, to be fair, on the lights.
Right. Okay, LED. That's a good thing. How about sustainability at Christmas? Like, one thing that drives me crazy is Christmas cards, and I've basically given up sending them. Partly that is laziness, but partly it is saving trees, and partly it's the finance of it. And now with the post office charges, it's It's like 75p second
75,
class to send a card. What's the trend these days? Do you think a lot more people are going away from sending cards, or are we all like, oh yeah, I'm giving the money to charity instead? Absolutely.
You go down the pub.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that, but I think you're right. I think the days of the mass Christmas card are behind us, but there's still that special something about receiving through the post a handwritten card that's been thoughtfully picked out for you. And I think that's where we're moving towards, is whether it's, the kids when they were younger or the grandchildren in future making cards, which are so special. And they're the bits that go in the box of memories, right? Or a card that you've picked out thoughtfully for a neighbour who will really appreciate it coming through the door. But it is more cherry picking who you send them to, and there's so many more other creative ways that we can send those wishes now. One that I love is, this is completely off the wall, but you get these beautiful eco dishcloths now, the ones that when you finish using them, you throw them on the compost heap, which is genius. But you can get Christmas theme ones. So turn it over, write a message on the back of it, and give back to someone for Christmas. Then literally the whole of Christmas, they're going to be thinking of you.
Oh,
And then at the end, throw it in the bin. Or not throw it in the bin. That's the whole point. Throw it in the compost heap.
I've not heard of them.
what a lovely idea. Yeah.
Where can you get those from? Can you get them? Do you sell them?
No, we don't sell anything. We're totally ideas and inspiration. That's quite enough for us.
Oh.
But definitely on various online shops. Amazon have them. But you'll find them in things like the National Trust, places like that. They have them. They're a Swedish design with kind of a ripple effect to them. They're very distinctive. But they come in all sorts of patterns, including Christmas ones.
I love that idea. That's wonderful.
And another one I heard, which doesn't save on the postage, but I think it's such a sweet idea, and it would work perfectly for you guys, for example, is the never-ending Christmas card, where you pick a massive card and you write a message, but not right in the middle of the card. You write it in one corner, send it to whoever's the lucky friend of choice, and they do the same. And then the next year you send the same card back with an additional wish, and so on and so forth through the years. And how lovely is that?
That is lovely.
Oh, that's...
I wonder, for the kids, that's
with
grown-up.
Parents. What a charming idea.
Isn't it just?
I just love that, Hannah.
I'm going to write that down.
You can listen to the podcast.
That feels like a Paul Hollywood handshake. This is writing it down.
It is. That is a mark of real...
I feel really important then. Can't bake though.
All right. Well, those are great ideas. What about de-stressing? And I was talking to a friend this morning, and she said, don't forget that it's really just a glorified Sunday lunch. And it's really important to remember why you're at that table, whether it be for religious reasons or whether it's because it's great to have your family home and around you. But, it is a bit bonkers, isn't it, to do, to spend a vast amount of money and do 15 different side dishes, and none of them are what you would normally serve, because it's got to be sprouts with lime shreds and chestnuts and God knows what inside to make them really, really trendy and exotic. Wouldn't it be nice if we just took the stress out of the lunch itself or the dinner? What would you do in that case? What have you got any good tips on just calming down a little bit for the day?
Yeah, absolutely. And this comes back to what we were saying before. It is all about remembering the bigger picture, isn't it? It's the people around the table, not what's on it. And I can't talk. We're a family of sprout lovers, but if you don't do sprouts, don't do sprouts. Absolutely. And I think delegation is hugely valuable. Everyone wants to be involved anyway, and people much prefer to be involved in the prepping of Christmas dinner than the tidying up of Christmas dinner. So,
that's true. Yeah,
we always prep the veg the day before.
Absolutely. Everybody has a job, and it's quite a nice atmosphere, isn't it? Open a bottle of wine, get the Christmas music on in the kitchen, someone's doing the sprouts, someone's peeling potatoes. That's some of my happiest memories, really, with the family. Also, my father-in-law, every single year, messing up the... oh, God, I can't think what it's called. The thingy.
Mashed potato. Mashed potato.
Goes down and crushes it.
Crushes what?
Oh, my gosh. Obviously, this will
Goes
to be
down.
edited.
I feel
Goes
like we're
down.
playing charades. It really
my
is
God.
Yeah,
Christmas.
it's Christmas. Yeah.
Massive
Go
brain
down.
fog moment.
Goes down crushing it.
Dishwasher thing.
Thing. What you plunger?
No, in America.
Nutcracker?
Okay. Oh, how many words?
Oh my God.
Sounds
Obviously,
like-
we're
Are
taking
we still
all of this
talking about
out.
food?
God, and now I'm worried that I can't remember what it's
Walnuts?
called. No, the food goes down, it gets crushed up, it gets
Oh, the
flushed.
grinder. Or the waste disposal.
Thank you.
Oh,
So she's talking about food. It wasn't just
never
me.
would have got that.
You should put that on your spreadsheet.
But you see,
This-
that's a perfect example, Michelle. Not the spaghetti, that's an example of other things. But it's a perfect example of why Christmas shouldn't be perfect, doesn't need to be perfect. That's the story you remember, right? That's the story you're telling.
My father-in-law always breaking the waste disposal. Yeah. Poor thing. He won't do the peeling of the potatoes now. He'd rather do some other job. He's reallocated. But
And
that's
there's an
okay. It's kind of funny as well, isn't it?
Right, and there's an entire industry of contractors depending on people breaking things over the Christmas season.
Why is it things do break? I guess there's more people in the house, but I can guarantee whether it's the boiler, some sort of plumbing of some sort,
Systems.
lights will go. Our fish tank generally goes.
Hot water,
yeah.
or, the oven, yeah.
Yeah.
Every time. Oh, that's a good thing, isn't it? You know, some people, if they're lucky enough to have double ovens, that's when it's about the one time of the year you use 2 ovens at the same time. Make sure it works. Don't wait until Christmas
Or make
Day.
sure it's clean as well. That's what we
Yeah,
discovered.
give it a bit of a clean ahead of time. I'm a big, I really like to plan ahead. All right, I'm going to fess up. This is so embarrassing. So I do a Christmas spreadsheet
In about June.
No, this was September.
You're speaking my language. Please don't feel embarrassed.
Okay, so when I did this spreadsheet, you know, on Google, if you do it under your email address, that it's yours. Well, I did it under our twowomenchatting@gmail.com address. So it pops up on Lizzie's drive, and I am so anal. Seriously, it's the gifts. It's every single meal throughout Christmas. Who's going to be there? What we're going to eat? Where the recipes are? What I'm going to wear at each event. Just dying. I was so embarrassed.
Oh, I was just wetting myself laughing. Read it. I thought, did she know she said this?
I did not know. But I would suggest that having a spreadsheet does take the worry out of it, because then you can plan to make the bread sauce on the 2nd of December and put it in the freezer. And you can have a shopping list on there that you can gradually buy from November onwards. You know, things that pantry items, you know, the extra brown sugar that you might need for dessert.
Date when you can, like the sprouts, they dated to what day you can literally.
Not as bad as that. She's being mean now. She is. She's being mean. It's a little tiny bit more general than that. But freezing ahead, I think is a great idea, because
you do that in January.
You.
Have you guys come across a fabulous lady called Kate Hall?
No.
The Full Freezer. So she, her business is the Full Freezer, and she is all about using your freezer to the most effect that you can. Not batch cooking, but just using it almost like a library of frozen ingredients that you can call upon when you need them. But she advocates for stress-free Christmas through prepping in advance and putting it in the freezer as much as you can. And also then you can just cook what you need as well, because, I mean, we love the leftovers, but there's only so many leftovers that you want. And again, if you're adjusting for different size families, depending on who's at home and who isn't this year, to be able to just pull out what you want on that day, cook that, and then be able to pull out again on another day to cook for another group. Perfect.
This is a really good
Michelle,
time.
Good idea.
Thank you, Hannah, my favourite friend. I would also advocate buying freezer labels, because otherwise everything basically looks like apple puree when it's in the freezer, and you think you're going to remember that, oh, that's 8 egg whites ready for my meringue, or you think you're going to remember that's bread sauce. It could also be leek and potato soup. Who knows? But I absolutely have to have labels. And actually, just going through your freezer sort of at the end of November, taking out all that stuff that is 3 to 6 months or for last Christmas, take all that out and you know, reuse your containers, but get rid of all that old food that you just know you're never going to go to again.
Or
make some
use
space.
It, save a little money on the grocery bill through the end of November, beginning of December, and then you can put that towards Christmas.
Oh yeah, I like what you're getting at there. It's perfect.
But possibly not last year's Christmas dinner.
Yeah, that might be out. That because most things are only about a month to 3 months, aren't
Oh,
they?
you'll have to ask Kate. I'm out of my depth on that one.
Yeah, yeah, that's the same for me.
She sounds like a great person to know. Actually, do you know what I didn't say at the beginning that listeners really should know? Hannah knows her stuff because she was on Kirsty's Handmade Christmas last year, weren't you? The
We
Channel
were.
4 show. What did you make when you were on that?
We were in the hamper episode, so we made a Christmas movie munchies hamper because it's all about the movies and the snuggles on the sofa at this time of year. Well, actually, it's movies or it's games. Let's ask, which are you guys?
Movies. Yeah,
Okay.
games.
No, I thought you meant games as in gaming. No, we do. Oh, it sounds really bad, but we play. I can't say we play poker.
That's not bad. You've got adult kids.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true. Yeah,
fine.
that's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, we do games and jigsaws. Well, it's only one jigsaw because it's so complicated.
I always leave a jigsaw out on a table and people just drift past and, do the odd piece here and there.
That's exactly what we do. It's the perfect one for the person who just needs a bit of downtime, a bit of me time. Actually, that comes right back to what you were saying before, Michelle. That Christmas is a really intense time, and it is really important to remember ourselves in that, and especially when quite often in the family we're the lead of the Christmas celebrations, we're the ones who are responsible for making the magic. It's so important to remember to just reflect on what we want out of the Christmas as well as what we want to try and achieve for everyone around us. We're big advocates for that me time. We actually created it's a free printable grab from jollyfestive.com, which is a mindfulness advent calendar. And the idea is every day when you burn your advent candle, it takes about 20 minutes to burn. Now, some people enjoy a candlelit dinner for 24 days, which is lovely. But if you wanted to, you could instead use that as a timer and then say, no, while that candle burns, that's my time. That's time for me. And I will do something that will make me feel happy or refreshed or revived in some way. And obviously that could just be doing a job that needs doing. It could be going for a nap. But we've put together some suggestions of ideas of things that people could do. Just decluttering one drawer or just going outside and breathing in the fresh air.
What a lovely idea. Fantastic.
And if you tell the other people in your family that as well, that you're not being rude, you're just going off for 20 minutes because it's just...
That's my advent time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of a chocolate.
Candle's that signature. You don't need to set a timer. You don't need to make it that aggressive. You can put the phone away and just use the candle as your timer.
We're talking about, finding some mindfulness or de-stressing. Of course, one of the things that really adds, that I was reading about, to anxiety levels, to bad sleep, is having sugar. And a lot of blood sugar can, really roller coaster your emotions. You can have a drop from it, and it can affect your sleep so much. It's quite hard to avoid the old sugar train at Christmas, though, isn't it? And my advice would be, just to maybe only keep the sugary foods in one room so that you're not constantly... I mean, when I grew up, we would have everything. We'd have mulberry fruit. We'd have Chinese figs. Remember all those old candies that you don't even get them these days, do you? And dates. They would always
stem ginger,
Turkish delight, absolute stem ginger, things that you wouldn't really eat. And obviously, a tin of Quality Street or roses, all of those things. We just don't really need all of that stuff, do we?
Well, especially as you think you have to finish them by the end of Christmas. We used to think they've got to be gone by Boxing Day.
So that you can diet by New Year and lose all that weight. But I mean, I would say that I'm going to try a lot harder this year to try and steer away from the cocktails. I mean, for one thing or another, I've been on this weight loss thing, so I don't want to really mess that all up. And in fact, Jane from Jane Plan is going to write a blog for us on how to handle those, like the Christmas naughty food, so that you don't feel like you're missing out all the time, but you're also not completely coming off the wagon. And then you've got such a big amount to come back from. It's almost like, where do I even start? What do I do? But, I think if you have a glass of wine, try to have a glass of water afterwards, or sparkling water. just so that you've got something in your glass that isn't constantly alcohol, because that is just, it's all round bad. We know that. It's just all round very delicious too.
Yeah, I think also it's the trying to avoid the snacking, the
Mhm.
movie munchie hamper aside. It's that trying to have the sweet stuff with the meal rather
Yeah.
than as a kind of a constant grazing, because that's what Twixmas is constant grazing, games and movies, right?
Mm.
And then a walk, because we must go out and get some fresh air and exercise in there somewhere.
Yeah, so maybe you can incorporate some of these really yummy festive goodies, but into the dessert. So put the Turkish delight into a trifle, or the gingerbread into a trifle, or use some of the quality street to make some kind of delicious, decadent chocolate dessert.
Or just not eat them.
Yeah.
Not buy
Or
them in
not
the
buy
first
them in the
place.
first
By the
place.
first place, yeah. No, but it is all about control, isn't it? And it is easier said than done. But just hide them. Grab a game.
Yeah. And it's also the size of containers is always bigger at Christmas as well. Have you noticed that?
No, but I actually noticed they've got
Which
smaller.
makes
Quality
sense.
Street have got smaller.
Well,
They've definitely got smaller.
okay.
I think.
No, true, that side, but from the sense of it's the only time of year you can buy the really big tubs.
Yeah.
And that's with gifting and big groups in mind, of course, but it also
Mm.
means that there's more temptation. So
Yeah.
I think one of our tips for that, which is also cost saving as well, is buy the bigger bulk items, but decant them into something smaller so that you don't bring it out in one go, and then again it's that temptation on the side.
Oh, that's true, and
everyone
that's
just
Yeah.
witty
doubles up.
too, isn't it? To dump out some of the sweets into a nice little
Glass bowl
crystal
or something,
glass bowl.
Mhm.
It looks better, doesn't it, than
Yeah.
maybe just having a
vat.
big fat old tin on your kitchen counter all the time.
No, I always put a few sweets up, but then I do. That's the danger. It's in each room, so you have one in the kitchen, then you just go through. You have one in, and then they soon pile up.
Or just buy the ones you
But
don't
interesting,
like.
we actually purposely have a bowl of sweets out all year round. Sorry, changing off subject here, but I find it quite fascinating. We have a bowl of sweets out all year round for the purpose that I want my children to get used to managing their own kind of consumption rather than it being controlled for them. And it's very interesting at Christmas time when we naturally have more of those and we have guests over, watching the children and the different behaviours around the bowls of sweets.
And does it work?
Does it work with yours?
Yes and no. I'm not going to pretend it's absolutely worked perfectly, and it certainly hasn't worked funny for me. But yes, I think they do have a better management because they know there's always supply there, so it isn't a gobble gobble gobble. It's I fancy one of those, or I need a little bit of a pick me up in some way. And I'm not saying that sweets out is necessarily the right thing. Maybe it should be something else as well.
No, but I think that if you just have one boiled sweet, it takes the edge off. Then you don't eat a whole bar of chocolate, or you don't go and eat. I find if I want something sweet, I will have a boiled sweet.
Ooh.
Is that normal? Is that just me?
But I think you quite like sweet food, don't you? I'm not much into sweet food. If you give me a cheese plate, that's gone. I love cheese. That's my worst thing. Yeah. Cheese and crisps, all those salty foods at Christmas, they can really dehydrate you as well. All that salt
so
that you're
true.
suddenly up. It's not just the sugar, it's the salt intake. So all in all, this is going down a rather unpositive, slightly negative rabbit hole of food.
Yeah.
Steer back to Christmas.
Yeah. So sort of to finish up, really just I dread the end. I was going to go positive, but I was going to say I dread the end when you've just got to clear the whole thing up. Any tips really just to keep your energy up and do it in a way? You said to put it into boxes per room. I think that's genius. Like simple genius are always the best tips. Anything else? Just how do you do it? Do you feel the need to have everything gone by the 6th of January? Otherwise, there'll be some awful curse upon the house. Or, when do you start packing up?
Well, again, this is where running a Christmas business is a great excuse. But we stick to the 6th of Christmas. A lot more people 6th of January. A lot more people seem to be going for Boxing Day now. I think with the tree going up earlier, by Boxing Day, people have had enough, and you've got the time between Christmas and New Year to start tidying up. But for us, it's the 6th of January, and I do it piecemeal for the same reason as we suggest doing piecemeal
Yeah.
at the
Jeff,
beginning.
it's not a bad idea to do
don't
Boxing
feel the
Day
need
because
to
you've still
have it
got people
complete.
around.
I have to admit, not necessarily Boxing Day, but the 27th. I start because I say to the kids, because they're older now, can you just carry the heavy stuff upstairs? Because stupidly, why do I store my Christmas stuff upstairs? It's and there's a cupboard. I'm sure I could
In
find
the
one
loft.
downstairs. Yeah,
We all do it.
I don't even have a loft. It goes in this side cupboard. It's just it goes in every cupboard actually upstairs. I've got so much.
But that is a brilliant way of taking the. I mean, it's third world problems, isn't it? The dread of putting all your enormous amounts of Christmas decorations away. But to have the family involved with it, having given them a lovely time at Christmas, a lovely dinner, you've done all the hospitality, you've baked, you've cooked, you've cleaned, you've come together as a family. It's not much to ask, is it, if they're not rushing off on the 28th or the 29th, just to say, can we just go through these, and maybe you want to take a few home with you and you can add them to your collection of Christmas goods. I think that's the time to do the decluttering side, really, isn't it? And to, if you're ever considering downsizing, as our kids leave, we might be thinking, shall I move this year? Do I need to go somewhere smaller? Do I want to go and live abroad? Whatever it is, that is a great time to do it with all of the family around, and to do it equitably, and just rounding off Christmas, really.
I completely agree. And I love the idea, if you're doing that, of having a little stack of kind of gift tags or something around, so that you can add a message to the baubles that you pass on. But just either a little positive message for the future, or a little message that tells your son or daughter what the history of that bauble was.
The origin.
So that they can then keep that going for the future. Because you can remember in the moment, but the next Christmas when they get it out, they might be trying to remember what that significance of that particular bauble was. And actually, I love the idea, again, coming back to perhaps in the future with grandchildren, the gather a selection of baubles for them as it could be a first Christmas gift for a new arrival, a selection of family baubles that then they can treasure for future years.
As usual, Hannah, you've been a treasure trove of ideas, and we'll add all this to our website so that people can come and look them up and find your website, which is jollyfestive.com. Is that correct?
It is, yeah.
Full of also fabulous ideas for the environment and for crafts and taking the stress out. Love what you do, and I love that you're just so jolly festive. So, Hannah Bartlett, thanks so much. Where can they find you on Instagram if they want? And you're a big TikToker as well, aren't you? I'm not so good on TikTok, but you put a lot of ideas on that. Where can they find you?
Oh, we try. We're everywhere. At Jolly Festive, except for TikTok, where someone else got there first. So we're at Jolly_Festive. But Pinterest and Instagram are where we're enjoying hanging out the most at the moment.
Yeah, I can thoroughly recommend people just go and check you out, because you've got loads of creative ideas. It's such fun. So, Hannah, thank you so much for joining us today and making us feel sort of festive. I'm ready. I'm feeling really positive and ready to go. I might go and get my boxes out.
Yeah.